What's up?
Hola. We're back after my peek behind the curtain last week. It was we tried to log on to here, and I was like, Josh could see me, and I could see Josh, but he couldn't hear me, and I was starting to get sick, and I was like, I cannot deal with this right now.
Yeah, you called it, and I was like, whatever, that's fine by me. I didn't really mind. But I was like, oh, right. Yeah, it just kind of like happened, and then yeah, it wasn't great. I could tell Ray was unwell when he talked to me. It was only brief. It was probably like 5 minutes, but I could tell in his
Yeah,
face he was like, I'm not in the zone to even try and fix this.
no, I was starting to get sick. I ended up with the flu the next day. Um, Went really bad on Friday. Um, but yeah, but it was a long weekend. I have a
Mm.
story about my illness well, not really my illness, but so I came home sick on Friday at like, I don't know, 8:30 in the morning. I didn't stay at work long at all. I just didn't have it in me. And so I got home and I just laid on the couch and just watched terrible TV. Just, I got down a rabbit hole on YouTube for a little bit and then started watching Catfish on. Um, Catfish is one of those shows we haven't been
Love
able to stop
Catfish.
watching it since.
Love Catfish.
Yeah, it's such a terrible show, but you just can't stop watching it.
Yeah, because the half the time you sit there and you go, bitch, this isn't fucking real. Because the music
Yeah,
comes on, they go all sad and it like zooms in on all their faces, being like, "Oh, I can't believe I fell for it." It's like, yeah, you can't believe you fell for this lady with huge boobs. That's clearly an OnlyFans girl that you've just
yeah,
fallen in love with for the last 6 years. But it's awesome. I can't stop. I I am so caught up to the point with Catfish now that I watch it week to week when it comes out. Paramount.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're catching up. We're just in the start of COVID Catfish.
Oh, right. So they're all on Zoom. That was a
Yeah,
whole time. Cammy's on Zoom. It's a whole thing.
Cammy could be one of my favorite
I
reality
love
TV show
I
people.
love Cammy. I freaking
She
love Cammy.
is
She's so
a
level-headed, but she's
spirit.
funny.
Oh, and because Neve tries to be like all like consoling and like I understand what you're going through,
Mm.
and Cammy's like, "What are you?
She's
What?"
like, bitch, you ain't talking to him.
Exactly.
But she's funny and she's good because I mean I watched Catfish years ago when it was like Neve and Max, but I like didn't like I watched it like casually, like here and there, like, oh, this is fine. And then I don't know what happened, and I just all of a sudden was like, I'm gonna watch all of Catfish, and I watched it all, and then like Max left, and I was like, oh, is this show still on? And then I like looked it up one day, and I'm like, oh, it still goes, and I was like, okay, and then I just like binged it. Yeah, it is. It's truly like the most unbelievable shit, but I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been one time on that show where I've gone, man, this one's real.
Like the person's a real person.
No, as in like this is not like some make believe bullshit that you didn't
Oh,
understand that this person isn't the person you're talking to. Like I'm like this is bullshit right here.
yeah.
But it's so
My
funny.
favorite one.
I love when they get into it and then like when they the person that is catfishing them has an attitude.
Yeah.
That's my favorite shit when they're just like, yo, bitch, like I do this to like 300 people. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. But anyway, so I just wanted to watch terrible TV, so I started that, which has been bad because me and your bestie have been watching it ever since. But the point of that was I got home and I just laid on the couch, but your bestie had her friend coming over for dinner and some drinks after work. They worked together, so they came straight from work here and got on the alcoholic beverages
Mm.
and didn't finish until I don't know, probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock from 3 o'clock, and put away probably like 4 or 5 bottles of wine and a
Ooh.
few like mixed like vodka sort of drinks, and
Mm-hmm.
we had Indian food for dinner, which was nice. But the next morning, your bestie claims food poisoning.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah.
Food poisoning from the Indian food, which I ate as well, and I was fine, apart from the whole flu thing.
Mm.
And the headache that she had was from caffeine withdrawals because we didn't have our
Ah.
coffee on time. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Been there. Yes, definitely.
But we
Definitely.
literally didn't, because I was ill and she had food poisoning.
Mhm.
We didn't get out of bed until like midday.
Mm.
It was a hell of a time.
I could imagine. Food
We only
poisoning
got
gets you.
we only got up to go to the shops to get something for dinner that night. And then when we got home, we like sat on the couch to start watching stuff, just to laze around, because I wasn't feeling great. He wasn't feeling great. And we're like, we just go back into bed. It's way warmer in bed than what it is out here.
Hell yeah. I had a bed day on Saturday as well. I didn't think I did anything. I think I worked until like midday, and then I come home with the intention of like, I'm going to do some shit. I'm going to clean the house. And then I come home and I was like, I think I'm going to have a nap. And then I like napped for a little while and then woke up and I'm like, well, it's like 4 p.m. Like, what's the point of starting the day at this point? I ordered menu log and I had tea in bed. It was great.
Nice. Yeah, so that was our whole weekend. We didn't do anything except for watch Catfish, basically.
Love
which
it.
was a heck of a time. Now, here's what I want to talk about tonight. Interviews, right? So since last time we've spoken, I've been on the other end of an interview. Like I interviewed
like a
someone.
job interview. I was like, interviews? Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, like a job interview. What do you reckon is the most... what's the worst question to get asked in an interview?
The worst question? I don't really know. What do you classify as bad? Or like, do you mean like an inappropriate question or just like the worst?
No. Well, if you're talking inappropriate question, you could, that's different. But like,
the worst.
what would you like the worst to try answer? Like, I think one of the worst is like, tell me about yourself.
Yeah, no. When people are like, "What do you do? What do you do for hobbies? Do you have any interests?" I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Breathing. Like, I don't know.
What hobbies are gonna make me sound the least crazy?
Yeah. No, I'm not telling you like. And I don't know when it's like anything. It's like if you're meeting someone for the first time or you're like on a date or something and tell me about yourself. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
How deep do you want me to go here?
And like I don't know how to talk about I know how to talk about myself, but if that question gets presented, it's like, I don't know, just ask me a question and I'll answer it. I don't know. Like I don't know how to. What do you do? What do you do for fun? Oh, I don't know. Like, what do I do?
Yeah. Exactly. I also don't like where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh yeah. Because half the time when you're interviewing for a lot of jobs, they're not really jobs that you think you're going to see yourself at for 20 years. You're just like, well, I don't know. I just want to make some money just so I don't, die. Or like am homeless.
I want to be able to feed myself.
Yeah, like that's pretty much the primary goal. It's like, I don't know where I see myself I don't even know where I see myself next week. Like, I don't know what's going on ever.
Yeah. I was thinking about that because we were like interviewing this guy and it's like asking these questions. You're like, how do I expect him to answer that? Like, what's going to be the worst answer where I'll be like, oof, I'm going to hire this guy? Or what's going to be the best answer that I'm like, oh, I've got to hire this guy? Because, like, again, what do you say to this? Actually, the guy that I was interviewing with, like, so me and another guy interviewed this kid. He's not really a kid, but he's a junior. The other guy asked him, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And he said, what was his answer? And I was like, that's a pretty good answer. Um, he said like confident in who I am and what I'm doing.
Huh.
I thought that's a
That
good
is
one.
such, yeah, because it's vague. Because
Yeah,
he's not saying the wrong thing, but he's also not giving you too much.
correct. And I respected that.
Yeah, no, I would too. I'd be like, you're hired. Shake his hand.
Spoiler.
When can you start?
Spoiler alert, we hired him. It's so hard to like hire people these days, which is shocking to me because people are like, there's so many people without jobs and whatnot, but it is so hard to hire people. So
Oh, I. It's just one thing I've never been nervous with is job interviews. I fucking crush them. I crush job interviews because I just like, I want to just like charm their. Well, I don't want to charm their pants, but that's the saying. It's charm their pants off. But you know what I mean. I don't want to
you got to
actually
get the job
charm
somehow.
their. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll show you what I'm good at. What do I do for fun? No, but like that is the saying. But you know what I mean. Like, yeah, I don't know. Job interview. First days in the job and that are nerve wracking as fuck. I hate those, but I don't get nervous for job interviews because I'm just like, I'll just go in and be like my funny self. Because people,
Mhm.
even if I'm the worst, like I might not be qualified at all for this job, but I can make you laugh, and therefore I know that the job interview will be at least. They might be like, oh, he's not that good at. He might not be good at this job, but boy, was he! What a charmer! What a little funny guy! Like that's how I always leave a good impression. I'm great.
Yeah.
Like first meetings with people and that, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. It's when you get to know me is when the real pain starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've spoken about this before, but I've never actually had a job interview.
Yeah, no, you said that. I remember you saying that, and I was like, oh. I mean, I didn't until like I didn't interview for my first job because I knew someone that got me the job. And then when
Mhm.
I worked at Woolies, my mum and that worked at Woolies, so they kind of half got me the like I interviewed, but it was like backwards. Like I already had the job, and then it was just
Yeah,
meeting me and stuff like that. But I didn't really have a job interview until I was like, oh, I had one when I was still at Woolies that I end up rejecting and not going with, and then I went to the vets, and now where I'm at. So I really haven't had that many job interviews in my life either. But I don't know. I don't know. They're just. I know some people find them nerve wracking. I understand why. Like it's frightening, but also just like, I just treated it as just like I don't know these people, so let's see
yeah.
what happens.
I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not a big overthinker about things. It might shock you to know, but this would be my demeanor through anything. So I don't
Mm.
think a job interview
Weirdly
would
enough,
change
it's
that.
one thing I don't overthink. And I overthink everything. Like I overthink like what plate I'm going to use, let alone like anything else. Like I don't overanalyze. It's the one time that I'm like not anxious. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
maybe need a job interviews more.
I don't know. I feel like I could job interview every day and just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Maybe that. Wish that could be my job. Just going and interviewing for jobs.
What about as an interviewer?
It's too much about the other person. Talk about me. Uh,
I
I would still find a way to make it about me.
I put my foot in a little bit actually while we were interviewing this person because like what do you say? Like we were trying to partially we were trying to sell working for us as well.
Oh yeah, you
I
got
think
to.
that's
Yeah.
a lot of it as well, is like trying to sell the person on take the job with us. Like wanting to anyway. So we were trying to sell the point that like there's opportunity to grow to different things. And we were saying how myself, I started in um like in the factory just as a shit kicker. And now I've slowly worked my way up through to the position that I'm in now, which is quite high, I guess. Um, well, I'm interviewing someone to be basically my personal assistant. Not really, but that's what I'm claiming. Um, but so we were trying to sell that, and I was like, yeah, no, I started in the factory, and now I don't know what my job is. I get told to do stuff, just do it. I'm like, that's probably not the best thing to say. It's not really
It's
selling
always funny,
anything, is it?
you know when you work in a job and they have like a new hire and they bring them around to like meet the crew, you know, and you're like, oh, hello. And you like, I know when I was at Woolworths, if they brought like a new department person in and you'd be like, oh, you'll be working with this person. Hey, mate, how are you? Give them the old handshake. And they would be like, oh, I'm excited to start. And I just wanted to look at him in the eye and be like,
Why?
give yourself 6 months, buddy.
Yeah,
You'll be figuring out ways you can tie an extension cord around your neck. Like you'll be, this is not a place you want to be.
Yeah.
And then like, I was like, when I was at Woolies, I did a lot of like the, you know, like the 1 till 9 shift, like that kind of like afternoon, night. So like you're on your own a lot, like in terms of like in my department, I worked in like produce. So like I was on my own a lot. So when you had to, you know, train the 18-year-old kid that's going to do the nights that I'm not here, it would be so many times where I'm just training him and being like, you're not meant to do it this way, but this is the way I do it.
Yeah, that's the best
like
way to do.
this is going to be the way you do it, because when I'm not here, you're here. And I want it done this way. Oh, but it doesn't say that on the sheet. Don't worry about that sheet. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, they tell you not to pack up until 8:45. Oh, that's all right. Just pack up at 8:00.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, I mean, that's the next bit that I'm gonna have trouble with, is because he starts in a week, and I've got to train him, which I really struggle to do. I find training people really hard to do.
Yeah,
Because,
it's like when you get asked like talk about yourself. It's like, oh, show them how to do your job. I trained the person when I left the vets. I trained the person that took over from me, and they were like, oh, we're gonna have this person be with you for the last like basically like 2 weeks that you're here. And I was like, okay, cool. And then you go to do your job and you're like, what the fuck do I do? I don't know what I do. I just do it.
yeah, well, like, there's lots of things that I know at my job just from I've been there for 10 years, and I don't really know how I know it. Do you know what I mean? And then I also, like, I pick things up quite quickly, and I always have. So when I explain something to someone and they don't understand it, that doesn't really compute to me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just used to getting it. It was like the other night, not last week, maybe, yeah, it would have been start of last week. I got home and one of your besties' kids said, oh, do you know how, like, can you help me with my maths homework? Which, yeah, I can do maths easily. Like, that's almost my superpower. It's maths. It comes very, very easily to me. But it was very, very hard for me to explain it to him because it comes so easily to me that I feel like it's hard for me to explain because it's just simple for me. Like, it was bod maths, which is, you don't know bod maths? Brackets, orders, divisions. Brackets,
I'm
order,
so bad at
division.
math. It's not funny how bad I am at math. Like I barely passed high school math.
Yeah, see, I've done like calculus and stuff like that at
Oh God,
university.
no. Do you think, knowing me, that I would be good at math?
I wouldn't say
Really?
good at it. It was bod maths. It was, it's the order in
No.
which you add up stuff.
My subjects at school was anything under the performing arts category. Drama, music. Weirdly enough, though, I was good at English. But that was more so because I was so good at creative writing.
Yeah, so performing arts.
Mm-hmm. I was
Yeah.
crushed those. And then the other subjects I got through.
Yeah. Here's the question that I've seen in the list of questions that we haven't got to yet.
Oh, yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up? Have we asked that one before?
I don't know. I feel like that's something we've answered before.
Is it?
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about that before.
Okay.
I'm pretty certain we have.
Okay.
I'm pretty certain.
Are you sure? I don't know.
I'm pretty certain.
What's your favourite habit?
My favorite habit?
Yeah.
Huh. Favorite habit. I always think of habits as being a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why this is a cool question.
Favorite habit, something that I just. What is the definition of making something a habit? Is it just something you always do?
I'm gonna look that up.
Because I don't know if that's just something I always do or if it's a habit. Like something I'm like, I have to do that. That's a habit, right? But that's bad. I don't know.
A settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that's hard to give up. So something you just do because you do it, and you can't stop doing it because you just always done it.
A good habit. Wanking.
Yeah. So something that's a habit you just find yourself doing without even thinking about it. So that means
Oh,
like
I better do
you're
that.
just like, oh,
Oh,
look at that.
what's
Look at
that?
me. I've
What's
started
that? What's
touching
going
myself.
on there? I would say that's a pretty good habit.
Okay. Um, let's look at a list of habits. Of common habits.
I can't really think of good habits, to be completely fucking honest with you. I can think of like 600 bad habits, but I can't think of one good habit.
These are all bad ones as well. Oh, no, I guess. Regular sleep, smoking, eating fast food, picking your nose, avoid sleeping late. You know what my favourite habit is actually about me? As soon as my alarm goes off, I always get up.
Me too.
I never, yeah, I'll never like fall back asleep after my alarm.
I don't usually fall back. If I have an alarm on, like if I know I've got somewhere to be, I'm usually pretty good with being like, I got to get up. But like if I don't have an alarm and I wake up and I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I should probably get out of bed. Like there will be multiple times where I'm like, no, I'm going back to sleep.
No, yeah, as soon as my alarm goes off, I'm awake. But it's only my alarm, because if your bestie's alarm goes off, I can go back to sleep after that one. But if my alarm goes off, then I'm up.
Such a light sleeper. I am a light ass fucking sleeper. I wake up to any noise. It sucks.
I didn't used to be, but now, like once I've become a parent, I do. I wake up a lot more. But yeah, I think that's my favorite habit of mine. Is that
Yeah, I can't think of one to be completely honest.
It's fine.
Well, I said wanking, to be fair, so it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
I answered.
Oh, here's a good one. What's something that's considered socially acceptable now, but won't be in 100 years?
Jesus. That's such a hectic question.
Yeah, because you got to think about what was socially acceptable 100 years ago and think, are we doing anything that rogue?
Yeah, I'm sure some people are. I mean, I stick to the boundaries pretty well. I can't really. Something that
everything's becoming so.
Everything's so woke. Not in like a horrible, not that way. I don't mean it as like, that person's woke. But like everything is just so. I don't know. It's just all its perimeters on it.
Yeah, I think at the moment we're in like a stage where it will right itself. I think right at the moment, like, not saying, like, I think that things should be called out, but I think there's also a lot of people that are just like sitting in an unknown, not wanting to offend anybody. There's definitely a group of people that are out to try offend people. I'm not talking about them, and I'm not talking about the people that are like way on the other side that are like getting offended by everything. But I think there's a group of people in the middle that are like scared of, not scared, but
and
just unsure.
We overcorrect ourselves all the time.
it's always like one way or the other. I think it'll
Yeah,
settle down soon. Hopefully.
I don't.
You know? Okay.
I think it's only going to get worse in both
Yeah.
columns, to be
Both ways.
completely honest. Yeah. Because the
Because
extreme people will be like, I'm going to say everything that you shouldn't fucking say. And the people on the other side, whatever, the extreme on the other side, are just going to be like, we can't say anything. Like, you can't say something's blue because that's
yeah,
offensive to someone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
yeah,
know. I try and sit in the middle and try to think rationally as much as possible. But even sometimes I'm like, go to say something, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't say that. But then I'm like, should I not say that? I don't fucking know.
yeah. It's very
Especially
confusing
with someone
sometimes.
who's so just like chronically on the internet as I am, the amount of times that I'm just like, can I post that? I don't know if I can. Not because it's like offensive, just because I'm like, but I've just come to the point where I'm just kind of like, well, no matter what you say, really, someone's going to be offended on either kind of side of the basket. So it's just better just to kind of like just shoot down the middle as much as you fucking
Yeah.
can.
Just leave it alone and just go. Yep. But I don't know. Yeah, I think that divide's just like it's there at the moment. So I don't think that there's anything that in 100 years it'll be like, whoa, that was hectic. Maybe
Yeah,
like
I
the
don't
whole
know.
North Korea thing, maybe.
Just as in general.
Yeah, I think something. I think something will eventually happen there, and they'll have to like, it's human rights.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest. I know something that would probably be looked back on in 100 years' time that people be like, what the hell just happened there? It was probably COVID.
Yeah,
In terms of just like when you think about where the world is at now, even in like 20 years, 30 years, like, holy shit, we lived through a fucking pandemic in the year 2020. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's a pretty advanced evolutionary stage of the human race. And we went through a pandemic where everyone had to sit in their house, and if they went outside, they had to wear a mask. Like, it's kind of
yeah,
wild to think about.
yeah. Well, people have been through it before. I
Yeah, I
think.
know, but like, I had like your generation, my generation had not.
Yeah, I mean, neither really had our parents, but I
No,
think.
like, I understand our grandparents, yes, to a certain degree, but like, in the year 2020, we went through a pandemic where it was like literally like, oh, you cannot go and do the things that you want to do. You need to stay in your house.
I think also like back in the last one as well, travel wasn't as accessible and news wasn't as accessible, so there
Sure.
wasn't the spread of news of
Mm.
information
Mm.
or the the disease. So I think that maybe 40 years ago, COVID wouldn't have happened because it wouldn't have got around the same as what it
It'd
did
be, yeah,
in
no, it'd
2020.
be, yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Because, like, it was so easily spread at the start. Well, apparently, I don't know. It was. I mean, I've had it twice. I'm sure you've had it. Like,
I've had it my fair share of times.
it's it's one of those things. Like, if international travel wasn't as easy as what it was, or even interstate travel, it wouldn't have been
Oh,
as
God.
big a quicker thing.
COVID was
So
wild. What a wild
it
time
was
that was.
crazy. We were
It
so
was.
lucky here in Adelaide. Like, if you really think about it, compared to other places in the world, like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just had to wear a mask everywhere, really, and every like for a little bit check
Well,
into where we went. We didn't get put in month-long lockdowns or anything like that.
no, but I mean, I'm assuming when you went into lockdown, you didn't go to work.
And no, I went to work.
Oh, so you were essential.
Apparently, yeah,
I mean, so was
it
I.
was
It's
touch
working
and
at
go,
Woolworths.
but yeah,
I never stopped working.
Yeah, neither did I.
But the thing with where it probably was even different for you than it was for me, because a lot of places went into lockdown in Adelaide, but didn't here until much later on. But the problem with living in a place like this is that, and working where I did, there was one place to go and get everything. So
Mm.
it was fucking bananas. I mean, it was
Yeah.
bananas everywhere. It was crazy, but like, it was not.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking about 2020 was a fucking wild year.
It was crazy. It was literally crazy.
But I'm thankful. I'm really thankful for COVID. COVID, because of the COVID. I don't mean thankful for COVID that everyone fucking got sick and lots of people died. I don't mean it like that. But I mean it like it taught so many people a lot of things about, not to be like corny, but like what's important and how much you value just being able to be like, I'm going to Kmart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do this. Like, you kind of had to really, like, I know we could like do like little walks within our little, what it was, like our little so many kilometer radius and like that. But like just being able to like, I'm going to go outside and go for a run. Like that was kind of like, even though you were allowed to outdoor exercise, that was kind of like a taboo thing of like, oh, don't do that. And it just taught you a lot about like, I don't know, it taught me a lot about personal space. I don't know about you, but just being aware of what's around me and like who's near me, and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it just, COVID taught me a lot. 2020 was just like when you think about 2020 of like, I was 24. It's kind of like what a weird time. That was 4 years ago. What the hell?
Yeah. Yep. My marriage
That means that,
ended
hey,
that's when my marriage ended.
that's when I came out. Nearly 4 years ago to the 4 years ago to the day. In just a few. Wait a minute. What date is next? Holy shit! Wait a minute. I think we might be recording on the day.
Are we gonna have
we record the day after. I came out on the 18th of June, 2020. So, yeah, what the hell? It's been nearly 4 years. I just randomly looked at that and was like, wait a minute. Oh, shit. But yeah, COVID, I come out not because of COVID, but it was like an indirect thing because I was like, what's the perfect time to do this? When everyone's locked up in their fucking houses. So nobody can fucking see me. So that's when I did it. So like, yeah, COVID, I don't know. It was, I'd never want anything like that happen again. And honestly, even when I look back at it, I'm like, that was awful. But like, I don't know, to say that you lived through that and be like, I had to, like, you tell your kids about that shit. You know what I mean? You tell Rory about that when he's older and be like, I remember when I had to stay in my house for fucking, you couldn't go outside without wearing a mask. You know what I mean? Like,
he was alive.
Yeah, he was alive, but I mean, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. He was he was basically a sack of potatoes at that stage. Like, he was a lump of clay. Like,
I know what you mean. But,
I mean, how old was Rory?
1.
You had to be like extra careful too, because he would have been considered like higher risk because he's so little, right?
Yeah, it was
so like
crazy time.
Yeah, weird. COVID was fucking wild. It was a wild time, and it's still sometimes like when you think about it, you're like, wait a minute, that actually happened, and we lived through that.
Ooh. Yeah,
it was really weird.
You think about all the things it changed. Not only with like personal hygiene and stuff like that, but just like the way things are done. Like team meetings, like work meetings online, really gave them a kickstart. Now, people don't bother about flying over to like have a meeting with someone because you can do it online because everyone knows how to do that now.
Also, it kind of, not everything, but like a lot of being like, you know what can actually work? Working from your house. It can work completely fine. You don't need to go to an office every day just to like do your job. Like, you can do it from home. Like, I don't know. I think it taught a lot about, I I don't know, puts a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people of being like priorities and stuff like that. Of being like, just like, no, I can do this in my house and do the same amount of work as I would as me having to travel to a place. Obviously, not every job, but like, I don't know. I think there was just a lot that changed, and that we're still feeling the effects of now, even though we probably don't even subconsciously realize it. We're just like, this is just norm now, stuff like
Yeah.
that. You saying like, I do remember when we had to like go in and scan in. Remember when you'd go to like a cafe and you'd be like, oh my God, I can go out to eat again. And they'll be like, oh, but only this many people. And you got to sit so far apart, and then you had to check in when you got there and stuff like that. Do you remember that stupid fucking rule when they reopened like pubs and like nightclubs and that? You had to like, COVID couldn't get you if you sat down. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was so stupid.
Yeah, I know. That was stupid times. You
It
could
was so
stand up,
stupid.
but if you were drinking, you had to sit down.
It's so stupid. So like, they're saying that I could not catch COVID if I was standing up
Sitting-
without a drink.
Yeah, correct. As soon as
So
you got a
dumb.
drink in your hand, if you're standing up, COVID will get you.
So dumb. Do you remember what it was like though? Like, you know, because we had did we have 3 different times where we went into like a lockdown? I think it was
2.
Was it? I thought it was 3.
No,
Because we had the initial one. We had the
which was the
initial
lie.
one. No. But remember, in the very beginning of COVID, there was like that whole countrywide 2-week lockdown where it was like 14 days, and like it was like March, April in 2020 when everyone, because they didn't really know what was going on, and then we didn't have it again until like that lie one where that guy said he had COVID or whatever, and then we went into a few day lockdown, and then we had like the one like a year later.
That was one of the funniest times. Like, not really funny as in like that lie one. I don't remember that first one you're talking about, but
I do. It was like the initial one.
Yeah, right.
That wasn't from like COVID. Like, you know, that was before like we had like COVID tracking, and that it was just basically like, we've got to put this entire country into a 14-day lockdown, and then everyone everything's shut.
Maybe I just worked through it and didn't realize.
I worked through it as well, but like, it was like, the initial one. But anyway.
So, that one, which was a lie, I just sort of separated from my ex, and I was living at my dad's house, and we sort of all got the news at work that everything's shutting down, like, get home by the end of the day, because it's, you know, this guy at the Woodville pizza bars ruined everything for everyone.
Oh God, good old Woodville.
And so it showed, like, my stepbrother still lives at home, and we're quite close, and it shows the different people that we are, because I, like, stopped on my way home from work and was like, right, what do we need? We need chips and dips and drinks and, like, soft drink and chocolates, and we need this and that. He was like, I rang him, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm getting some, like, chips and stuff on the way home. So we've got snacks for the next couple, like, days while we're stuck inside. And he's like, I'm going to the dart shop to get a whole bunch of, like, darts and dartboards and stuff, so we've got something to do. I'm like, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? And then the next day, we literally stayed outside all day, just, like, out in the backyard, throwing darts, talking shit, just, like, he drank, like, 37 beers that day, got blocked.
Remember when we went into the lockdown, I believe it might have been that time, or doesn't really matter. But you know where it was like, wherever you are at 11:59 on this, you have to stay. So I was like, do I stay on my? I was like, I had to like, because my sister and my brother-in-law at that point lived across the road from me. So I was like, do I stay in my house on my own, or do I go to their house and like, we may as well sit with them for a week? And then I remember planned. I was like, yeah, I'll go stay at Shaylee's. It'll be fine. We'll just like play PlayStation, fucking eat fucking food and whatever. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Fell asleep at 10 p.m. the night, like that night, and woke up, and I was like, fuck, no, I'm stuck on my own. But I mean, it ended up only being like whatever it was, because it was
like 3 days.
It was like 3 or 4 days. And then but But yeah, I don't know. Lockdowns was what it was. I just kind of like went to work, went home kind of thing. But working in a supermarket in lockdown,
Oh, that would have been hectic.
that was gnarly. It was not fun at all. At Not even kind of was it fun. It was just like chaos. Like they would announce a lockdown, and then within like an hour, the entire fucking town was just like in Woolworths, and you were like, what is going on? And it was just like, as soon as you'd put something down, and just like someone fucking coming and taking shit, and like, then you would have to work all day and then try and get food for yourself, and the
Yeah.
shelves were just bare. And
Yeah.
they would be like, people would just be like, it just brought out, well, it brought out the best in some people, because so many people, I had so many people that would be like, oh my God, like going up to work to be like, hope you're all right. Like, you know, we're trying to, you know, do our best. But then you have those person be like, I remember staff members getting yelled at by people because they were like hoarding stuff out the back for themselves. And like, oh my God, like, it really did make you see the worst in so many human beings of like, why did this fucking entire world go into it when you actually think about the fact that like how much toilet paper you're actually going to use? Like, why are you buying so much toilet paper? Like, how long, how many shits are you going to do in the time where you need all of this toilet paper? Like,
the
out of
toilet
all
paper
things
was
to
a
run
weird
out of,
one. Yeah, that was
all
a really
things to
weird
run out of,
section.
like, we ran out of toilet paper.
Considering like diarrhea is not even really a side effect of COVID.
No.
It wasn't, I don't know. The worst case scenario, just shit in the shower and waffle stomp it down the drain.
Yeah, or just like shit in the toilet, then just walk over to the shower and wash your ass.
Yeah, exactly. So
like, it's not hard. And also,
no.
I don't know. Why of all things though that you want to stock up on, it's toilet paper?
Yeah, it was a strange little subsection of COVID.
It was really
toilet
weird.
Paper wars of 2020.
Toilet paper, it's just, and then people selling on eBay for like $1,000.
Oh, I have to tell you, because today I had the worst customer service experience of my life. So, and you know me, I'm very level about everything. I went off on someone today. I Karened him and was like, I need to speak to your manager.
Oh, Ray.
So I had a problem at the bank, right? Like with my bank, my home loan bank. And something was getting taken out of my card, which my card's never been activated or taken out of the back end of my wallet. Like, I just don't use it because I don't need to. And so there was charges coming off that card. So I called them and I was like, this isn't me. So the guy's like, oh, what? Can you repeat that again? So I told him. He's like, oh, guess I'll have to verify you. Ask me the verification questions because obviously it's banking. So they've got to verify you. I fully understand that. Answer them. He's like, oh, my computer's been heaps slow. I'm going to have to put you on hold. Put me on hold for like 15 minutes. So I'm like sitting there waiting and I'm getting more and more frustrated. I get back on the phone and he's like, asking me more questions. And I'm like, I don't know that. Like, I don't look at this account. I don't log in to do internet banking. I literally just pay into it. It's like my home loan. So I just pay it. Me and your bestie just pay it. We don't. She looks at it because she does all that for me, but I just pay it. So anyway, he's like, "Nah, you failed the verification," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "What can I say? Bank of Queensland are hard to deal with," and I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah," and he just like sort of laughed about it. I'm like, "I need to speak to your manager." And he's like, you didn't pass the verification stage, so I can't pass you to my manager. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, I bet you it's you skimming money from my account, isn't it? And he's like, what can I say? Bank of Queensland are hard to deal with. And then hung up on me.
Oh, that's not good.
And I was so angry. I was like, filthy.
Did you
like,
ring back?
yeah, I rang back, but I cooled down a little bit first. I went and did some stuff at work, and I was like, because I don't usually go off on people. I don't usually do the whole let me speak to your manager thing, because I like to think that like they deal with enough dicks per day in customer service that I can at least try be nice. But this guy was just firing me up. And then, so I called back. The guy was very helpful. I told him what happened, and he was like, "Oh shit, did someone actually say that to you?" I'm like, "Yeah." So, if we clip this bit up, tag Bank of Queensland in it, because I'm not happy with them.
I will. I'll make sure that I clip this up and I'll tag Bank of Queensland. Fucking, what do I know about Queen? Fuck you, Bank of Queensland. Hear that?
But I was so,
I
like,
don't bank with
I was
them, but
devastated. Yeah, I don't want to anymore.
you might not either after this.
I know. It was so shit. Because your bestie was on the phone to him earlier, and they're like, "Nah, that's his card. He's gonna have to call up and do it." And we're like, "Okay, no worries." So I called up, and then that happened, and I called her, and I was like, "You would never believe what just happened." She's like,
Jesus.
I told her, she's like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "When I was talking to them, they were very helpful." I was like, "Yeah." And then it turned out the second guy I spoke to was very helpful, but this guy was a dick.
Oh. Well, screw you. Whatever your name is, you little prick.
Yeah, no, I can't even remember his name, but
Oh.
I'm spewing. I wish I had remembered it, because I
What
would
can
have
I
been.
say? Bank of Queensland are hard to deal with.
Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, they're hard to deal with. Bop.
Imagine saying that as someone is like fucking getting scammed out of money. Like,
Yeah,
shut up.
like luckily it wasn't like it's not an exuberant amount of money, but it's rather put a
Still,
stop to it now than if it kept going.
did
So
you sort it out?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the other guy was very helpful, and we got
Oh,
it sorted out. But
oh.
yeah, I just couldn't believe this one guy. It was crazy. So
Wow,
anyway,
that's fucking gnarly.
I got like I was in the office like doing something on hold, waiting, and then he answered, and I walked out of the office because I didn't want to talk about banking stuff in front of the people in the office. And I walked back in. I was like, "You'll never believe what just happened to me."
Yeah, what the hell? I can't think of any times that's like something like that has happened to me where I've been treated so poorly by like like customer service wise. I'm trying to think
Yeah,
of I don't really think there's ever been a time where I've been treated that poorly, like, but in that kind of grand scheme of things. I mean, I've only ever had one banking issue in my life, and ANZ were wonderful. They were wonderful to me, so I can't fault ANZ. So
I
I'll clip
don't.
this bit too, and I'll tag ANZ, and I'll be like, "Hey, you guys are great." Well, at least to me, I know. I mean, everyone's different, but I mean, I've only ever banked with two different banks in my entire life. The fuck, I didn't think I'd be talking about ANZ Bank on this podcast ever, but here we
um,
are, ANZ.
I know. I
Oh
don't.
my
I
god, I
can't
just
remember.
realized that stands for Australia, New Zealand.
Okay, good job.
I did
We got
not put that
there.
together. ANZ, duh.
um, yeah, I don't think I've ever had anything else like that. I don't think. I can't think of it. Maybe I'll keep thinking during the week about any poor customer experiences.
No, I really haven't. I haven't. I'm sure I have, but like none that are that bad because I can't remember them unless I'm just blocking them out.
Um,
But
there was one though. When, so when I stroked out when I was a little bit younger,
mm,
and so I'll tell you the whole story about that because it was crazy, right? So I went to work on I can't whatever day it was. I can't remember the exact days. I was feeling a bit like I went out to I had training or something in the evening. Went there and like on the way back, I was like, I had this like really sharp pain in here.
Mm. I think have you said this story on the podcast, or have you just told me?
I might have just told you.
I think you've just told me.
So I had this like really sharp pain here, and for those just playing the audio game, I'm like pointing at sort of my thyroid area.
He's pointing at his cock right now. Ray's dick is out.
um, so and I had this like really sharp pain there, and it sort of went into a headache, and I was like, oh, that's weird. But I thought I just had like tonsillitis. Anyway, I had the next day off of work because I thought I had tonsillitis, and I went to the doctors. And this is when I had a regular doctor, and I'd only go and see him. So I went to this doctor, and thank God I did, really. But he was sort of, I was like, I think I've got tonsillitis. And he was looking, and he's like, where's it sort of hurt? And then he touched, like, around here. And he's like, yeah, I don't love this. I don't know. He's like, I'm going to send you for, what did he send me for? He goes, I'm going to send you to the hospital, but I don't want you to drive. I'm like, huh? How am I going to get there? So it's like, he wouldn't let me drive out of there. And I was like, ugh. So I went to the hospital, to the Royal Adelaide. And now, like, I was like, look, I don't know what's happening. My
I've got
doctor's
tonsillitis.
just, yeah. No, that's right. He sent me for a blood test, and he's like, I don't want you to drive there. And as soon as you do the blood test, come straight back here. And I was like, okay. And then he did that, and I got back there and goes, I don't like this. Go straight to the hospital.
By the way, I will say, when you're sitting there in a doctor's, like, going just, for whatever, and they look at something and they go, I don't like this. That's not a good feeling.
No.
Ever. And
So-
like for anybody, whether you're a stress head or not, if your doctor is saying, I don't like this, I think you should go to the hospital, I would be like, holy fucking shit, I'm gonna fucking die.
Yeah, so I get to the hospital, and I'm like sitting in there, and like I'm trying to explain to them why I'm there, and they're like, and they just keep coming back in, and the nurse is like, oh, are you the boy with the headache? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm here
No,
because
bitch, I've got
fucking-"
tonsillitis.
And they just keep walking past and going, oh, that's the guy with the headache.
Little shits.
I'm like, I'm not here for just a fucking headache.
What can I say? The Royal Adelaide Hospital are hard to deal with.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm fucking spewing. I'm like, if I've come here for a fucking headache, I'm gonna be pissed. And anyway, they did a CT scan. And then at like 1 o'clock in the morning, this was at like, he sent me there at like 4 in the afternoon. 1 o'clock in the morning, they come and they're like, so you've had a stroke.
I would have said, I would have been like, hold that thought, doc. I would have went up to every single nurses and I would have been like, say that a fucking again. Say I have a headache again, little shits. Tell them about it, doc. What did I have? It's stroke. That's right.
So, just one bit of news as well that doesn't induce sleep. So you don't have a lot of sleep.
Yeah, I wouldn't just be like, I had a stroke. Well, I better hit the hay, I got a big day tomorrow. Like, no, I'd be like, this is my last day on planet Earth. Sick.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I don't know what this means for me. I don't know what's going to happen. They're like, we're going to have to do some more tests to see what happened, like why it happened. But because it's a stroke, we're going to have to put you in the geriatric ward. So, like, all the oldies suffering from Alzheimer's and from... And then I'd be like, I had my own little, like, rope, like, the curtains
off, yeah.
With 4 other people.
Oh, sick. You would have had a brilliant night's sleep.
So I go in there, and it's like, it's the morning time. I haven't really slept. Um, and you know the nurses do their changeover, so they get the next group of nurses in, and one person walks around and goes, "This is this person. This is what they're doing. This is what they're."
Mhm.
They're out in front of mine, and I hear this is this, and they open the curtain, and one of them audibly goes, "Huh, you're young."
Yeah, because they're used to dealing with like 90-year-old men like shit
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah. Um, that's because then, so they started doing more tests on me, and I like literally have never hated someone more than this doctor because they tried to do a lumbar puncture on me. I don't know if you know what a lumbar puncture is. So
I
basically,
imagine.
they get a needle into your spinal cord and drain the
Mm.
spinal cord fluid to test that. But to do it because I'm so young, they didn't want me to have like do it underneath an X-ray machine because they didn't want the extra radiation.
Mm.
But so what they do is they just put you in the fetal position and try guess where it is. Fucking hell. They're just driving this massive big needle into my back and it's like hitting all my nerves in my back. So my legs are like flinging out straight. And I was like, I vomited it with that much pain.
Yeah, it would hurt.
Yeah, it was not good. And so I'm like, I remember that woman's face. I would like throat punch her if I see her in public. I was
Well, it
like,
might be
look,
that there you've got her and the guy from the Bank of Queensland just like lined up. It's like pong
yeah.
pong. See you later.
So yeah, and then the next day they did it with the X-ray machine and did a some other tests. Yeah, it was a hectic time. The funniest
Mm.
part about it was the next night. I'm exhausted, haven't slept for like a day and a half. Had this woman just fucking harassing me with a massive needle in my back. Ready to get some sleep. 11:30 at night. I'm just sort of starting to doze off. And I hear, "Excuse me, excuse me." It's the guy at the bed next to me
Oh.
calling out to the nurse. And she comes in, "Yes, yes. Are you the mayor of Port Adelaide?" She's like, "What?" He's like, "Are you the mayor of Port Adelaide? I need to speak to the mayor of Port Adelaide." She's like,
Oh fuck.
"I'm a nurse at the Royal Adelaide and you've shit yourself." He's like, "Oh, so I have."
Oh fuck. I would not be able to sleep in that situation.
No, it was a hectic time, but
Yeah,
you know,
it fucking would have been. You just had a
mm,
stroke. No big deal.
yeah, it's fine. All right now though.
I guess so. I
I
mean,
got
I've
pretty
never had a
lucky with it.
stroke.
I got
Yeah,
pretty lucky with it.
especially being young and having a
It was only
stroke.
like pretty small,
Yeah, but I mean,
but
it's still a stroke.
yeah, it just made me weak on one side for like a couple of days, but it came back. The worst part about it was that the lumbar puncture, because they drain your spinal fluid, you actually have to lay flat for like a couple of days. Like you can't sit up. If you sit up for more than like 5 minutes, you get like incredibly nauseous and like the
Mm.
most splitting headache because you got no spinal cord fluid.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Fun.
it's fucked.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it.
No, it's shit. It's
Well,
all
I mean,
shit.
I wouldn't want to have it. I wouldn't want to have a fucking stroke. I guess
I thought masturbation was your have it.
yours is having a stroke, apparently.
Yeah, I've only done it once though, so I don't think it constitutes a habit.
Yeah, I've only ever wanked once too, so did it once when I was 14, and then I was like, that's all you got to do. That there's the prophecy fulfilled. Holy shit! What the fuck? You can't go from talking about a stroke to talking about touching yourself. You can't do that. You can't do that.
The funniest thing
I was
about
going to ask something really inappropriate there, but I'm not going
go on.
to. Well, you were in a thing with like 4 other old men. They weren't like fiddling their bits and stuff, or like with the nurses
Oh
and that.
no,
Because
it was
I've heard
all.
horror stories about that.
I kept it all closed. I didn't want to see
Yeah,
any of
I
that.
wouldn't want to either. But
No. The funniest part about it was afterwards because I was with my ex and her dad would be like, we'd go somewhere and then he'd be like, "Oh, this is stroke victim Ray," and like pretend to wipe my chin
Oh my
before I could
God,
say
it's
anything.
fucking terrible. Oh my
Pretty funny.
God. Oh my God.
It's very
I would
funny.
milk
He'd
it
like
though. Holy
he
shit.
would try and get me before I could say anything, so they'd think I was like, but I wasn't.
Holy shit. Well, I'm not gonna lie though, if I had a stroke, Ray, fucking hell, you'd never hear the end of it. I'd be like, oh, I can't do that. I've had a stroke in my life. I
Had
can't
a
do that.
stroke.
I had a
Yeah.
stroke. I had a stroke. I'd milk the shit out of it. If I'd met someone, be like, hi, my name's Josh, 28, I've had a stroke.
Right.
That's awesome. Well, it's not, but you know what I mean. It's not awesome that you had a stroke, but you know what I mean. It's awesome that you lived to tell the tale, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't die,
Alright,
so
I'm
whatever.
gonna hit this on the way out. I
Mm-hmm.
want to go watch an episode of Catfish before bed.
Mm-hmm.
A2O podcast on all your social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Go check us out there. Apples to oranges, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Like us, follow us, leave a review, leave a 5-star rating if you can. That'd be great. YouTube versions up at Josh Robertson 00, and that's where you'll find him on all your socials as well for all of his content. And that's probably one of my better ones. I don't think I forgot anything.
Did you leave something out?
I think
No.
I just did it quicker because I wasn't fumbling over my words.
Yeah, I don't know if you just did it quicker or if there's something left out, but I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. So whatever. All right. Well, we'll see you
No.
next week. Newton Targan.
Peace.